Well, good evening, track gang and STS followers. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 2 for the month of January. It happens to be January the 12th of 2025. And welcome in, everyone. I'm going to switch. I don't know why it did that. I'm going to go over here to the participants list, and we'll get rocking into that. Pardon me. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a wild day, to say the least. It always is with me. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I didn't bother to check to see if that's working. According to everything here, everything says it's working, but you never know. So hopefully we're doing okay out here. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do, like I said, we're going to switch over here to the participants list and we'll go from there. And I do know that Mr. Steve over at the Wig Wag Workshop was the first one in. So 3-Dub got the cookie, the proverbial cookie. All right, so we've got Mr. Almar out there. We've got Caboose 1973 Channel 1 in the house. We got James over to Dundas Junction Model Railroad. We've got Getting Back on Track with Steve. We've got JJ over at the Great Northern. We've got Hot Rod Rodney over at Hot Rod Rodney 25. We've got Mr. Joe Rader over at the Black Rock Central. We got Mr. John Knoffel. We've got Dwight over at the Curly Express. We've got Lynn McCurdy over at the HD MMRC, and I hope that everything is good with you, sir, out there. I know it's been a little bit of, there's been some wild things going on, but hopefully you guys are all good. We got Mr. Bob over at PK&W Model Works. We got Mr. Ray Bertelson in the house. We've got myself, although I'm not 100% sure that I'm here. We've got Mr. Ron Moen in the house. We've got John number 2 over at the Schuylkill River Valley. We've got Dave over at Sparky 107. We've got Steve 87 PSAP. We've got Mr. Thomas Garassi. And of course, at the end of the train, we've got Wig Wag Workshop, which is Mr. Steve. Hopefully, I haven't missed anybody. Let's see, the participants list just jumped. Oh, we've got JP over at the Beaumont Hill Subdivision. Welcome in. We got Dave over at DB Tech in the house as well. So I think the only person from the Sidetrack Sunday gang that's not here is Brian over at the Iron Horse, and that's more than likely because of the fact that he's sleeping. Hey, we got Rusty over at Possum Bayou in the house. Michael Schuster is here. We got Mr. Ken Amos over at B&O number 51. Let's see who else it is. This everything just went ahead and jumped again. More folks are popping in. We got Mr. Ron Moen in the house. And we've got Brian over at Clintonsville Model Railroad. Say hi to Brian over there. That is a new channel to the Sidetrack Sunday chat. I will try to go ahead and post a link. Go ahead, and Brian over at the Iron Horse Route actually sent him over. So if you would, go ahead and check him out. And the link is forthcoming. There we go. Nice. Let's see. Is there anybody else? Like I said, the participants list just jumped yet again. Fostoria, Ohio Model Railroad Club. Welcome in. Good to see you. Dave over at the Carolina Foothills is in the house. We've got Artie over at Oz America Model Railroad. Hopefully everything is good tomorrow, since it is tomorrow over there for us. You're ahead of us. Way ahead of us. All right, I think that pretty much covers the participants list, although it keeps changing, so we're going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Of course, for those that are new to the channel, you will notice some folks that are in blue or purple. It depends on how it's showing up in your chat with a little wrench behind them. Those are my moderators. They're here to keep me on track and you in line, or me in line and you on track. I don't know how. It never works out anyway, so it is what it is. So, all right, everybody is still. Hey, John Train BFGR, welcome in. There's a new channel I don't think I've seen in here before. Welcome in. All righty. What a bargain. All right. So, like I said, those are the moderators, and I do appreciate that. They'll, from time to time, they'll be helping out, posting links, things of that nature. Like I said, also trying to keep me on track, or you in line, or me in line, and you on track, something like that. I'm so off track, it's not even funny. And I really don't like this view because it's behind. But I'm done with the participants list, so I can swing back over here to StreamYard, which is in sync. There we go. Lovely. All right. Well, so I've got a couple things that I want to go over tonight. Bernard C's in the house. Welcome in. I do want to go over a few things tonight. Obviously, as some of you are probably pretty much all of you are well aware of by now, January the 11th was my birthday. Yeah, isn't that something, Steve? You know, hey, look, I don't follow the football thing anymore, but you know, of course, being down here in Baltimore, I hear about it. So yeah, that took care of that team from up there in Pittsburgh. So anyway, good evening, Opa Dodge. Anthony Dodge, the Model Trains Outsider, is in the house. Welcome in. So, getting back to getting back to what I was discussing here. Yesterday was my birthday, so yeah, my family. I tell you what. Anyway, I'm going to just go ahead and jump right on into this because everything is over here, and we're going to. I'm going to switch cameras here, so that way you're not directly looking at my ugly mug, at least not too much. Anyway, all right. So one of the things that I ended up getting yesterday is I've got myself a new airbrush. As long as I can get it on screen. There we go. This is a master airbrush. This is a dual action, which means that it's you have to push and then pull back. I've never used one of these. The airbrush that I've got, as we've all discussed, is 40 years old at this point, or 30 years old at this point. And yeah, it's an old Badger, and it's a single action brush. So this will be nice. I went out today and actually got the hose for it, so I can hook it up to my compressor, and we'll go from there. So that was I think that came from, this came from the wife. Can't forget that. That would be a bad thing. Yeah, that actually came from my wife, which was really cool. The second thing is which goes with product number one is product number two. This is a set of bottles that go with the airbrush so that I can mix up multiple paints and have them ready to go. So this will be really nice. I can swap out paint jars and such. So this will be really good. Really, really good. A garden hose won't work. Yeah, but you're probably right there, Artie. Yeah, that the garden hose definitely won't work. And a new peace pipe. Yeah. Jeez. It's a 5-year project, Steve. See? Yeah, I'll find the transition from single action easy. Well, we'll find out. We'll see, because I'm sure I'll have videos coming forth on this thing, so we'll see how it plays. Thanks, Bernard. I appreciate that. So I haven't opened that box up, by the way, but and the last thing that came from the wife, well, Anybody who follows the channel knows that back for Christmas, one of our fellow YouTubers sent me a surprise gift in the fact that I've got a GP40 painted up for the Western Maryland. So what my wife went out and got me is the caboose that goes with the locomotive. Now, I haven't actually had this out of the box yet. Yeah, I know, Opa Dodge. I still find that freaking hilarious. Happy Womb Liberation Memorial Day. I said, and it said 2 years on the mansion building, still lost. Yeah, unfortunately, that project took a real back seat. But yeah, this is a really good looking model, I must say, and it's going to look really nice behind that SD40. I can't wait. I've actually got to go ahead and make up a car card for this so that I can get it on the railroad. I also have to backdate one of the couplers because for those that aren't aware, and like I said, I do know I've got a few new people in here. I am still very much old school. Most of the equipment and rolling stock on the Beauville and Newtown, which is actually over my shoulder back there, part of it, the bigger part of it. I still have a lot of my stuff as horn hooks and not KDs. So I'm in the process. I actually have about a dozen cars or pieces of rolling stock that are transition cars that have horn hooks on one side and KDs on the other. And most of my rolling stock is on our through freights. So yeah, I'm still using a lot of horn hooks for the moment because making the transition on somewhere close to, I think at one count, it was something like 350 plus pieces of rolling stock. And now I know I'm at like 100 locomotives and the cabooses and all the passenger cars. Yeah, to go ahead and do that, I'd have to take out a fourth mortgage. Yes, they do. Hey, Ed from Happy Valley Hobbies is in the house. Eventually, I'll get my tongue untied. Probably won't happen, but hey. Anyway, so that was all that came from my wife, Dawn, which was very, very cool. I was not expecting to see that stuff. That was great. And my daughter is sending me, I don't know what my daughter is sending me. She knows I'm in the middle of, what are you doing, Rach? What are you? Oh, she's sending me links to, okay, I think I know what that's all about. Anyway, because her and her boyfriend, hey, Ray, did you get the link? The link to what? I'm sorry, Caboose, I didn't catch the link. Anyway. All right, Steve. Ha ha. Ha ha. Love it. I mean, I do things on this railroad that are definitely against the norm, but I haven't done paper mache. Then again, maybe I have. Any rate, that was my wife that got me that stuff. So then my daughter and her boyfriend, of course, my daughter for Christmas got me a 3D printer, the Anycubic Cobra 2 Neo. And I've pretty much burned through the filament that I've had here. So her and the boyfriend went ahead and got me a dual pack of filament. As soon as I get it on camera, there we go. So yeah. Normally that's what I end up with. Oh, no, I didn't. I'll have to look that up. Caboose. We'll have to look that up, man. He just knows how to collect money for what he wants. Yeah, right. Anyway, so that was that. I'm going to move that out of the way because I'm going to need space on the desk here in a minute. Oof. Okay. No, Artie, the 3D printer is not still in the box. The 3D printer is actually sitting over here to the side, and yes, it has printed stuff out, unlike the other 3D printer that I had. No, unlike the mini fridge that I had. Ray, do you know what humidity is? What the humidity is where you store the filament? The humidity down here is usually around 30, between 30 and 50%. It's a little bit drier down here right now because of the fact that it's the wintertime. But other than that, yeah, it's usually between 30 and 50. But the last thing is that this one here was the fix and oops that I made. And that was the fact that at one point in time, I got the Z-axis a little bit too close to the deck and actually scraped the deck. So I've got a new plate for the deck. Yeah, I like to. I tell you what, I know that I don't know how much my daughter paid for it, and to be honest, I really don't want to know. But yeah, I mean, this one here has been great. There's a bit of steep learning curve with it. But yeah, I mean, it's now that I've kind of gotten it figured out. I've had some projects that I've already done. I actually printed out. I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras here for a second. Let me go back to just the main cam. And then we'll get into the project number, or not project number 2, but into number 2 on the list. Wrecked it already. Gee, lock the door, folks. Oh, geez, Artie, thanks. I've already printed out a few projects. In fact, episode 2 for the B&N, I talked about painting up the steel reel caddies, the steel reels, the wooden, where the wire rope. Sheesh. Why am I drawing a blank? The drums that they sit on, I painted all that up. I went ahead and printed out 15 plus jersey walls so I can glue them together to go down the center of the highway bridge that I built, or kit bashed. So I've been working on all that, and I've got another project that's going to be a part of episode 3 that'll be out this coming Friday. So you might want to stay tuned to that, because that was another 3D printed deal, and that one really impressed me. Yeah, the spool. Thank you, Artie. My brain is like shot tonight for some stupid reason. I don't know why. That's what happens when you get old. You can go to PCTV. Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out. There's a list. I thought well, it's a fluid list. It's there was some things that I wanted to go over tonight, but that's basically it. Anyway, let me swing the camera, or swing back over to the other camera here for the moment, because how do you print? Wait a minute. What the heck are you asking here? How do you 3D print the blanks you are drawing? The blanks you're... I'm not quite... I follow. Ray sucking too many diesel fumes. Yeah, okay. I do have a TV, Joe. I just don't watch it. I just don't watch TV anymore. Anyway, um, I did. I'm gonna try to see if I can find some place to put this to where I can get to it easy. Um, that's a joke from Ed. Okay, I got it. I think. Anyway, moving on. I did a new video for the channel for this year, which I do every year. And the funniest thing of it is years ago, I'm going to switch back. The heck. Back in the 1989, 1990, 1991, when I was still in the service, my parents had moved into a new house with an unfinished basement. It's all the radiation in the basement. Yeah, probably, Steve. Yeah, more than likely. But at any rate, when they moved and I got the chance to, when I came home and I saw, the basement being unfinished and there being plenty of room, I was like, you know what, Dad, this is the house that we're going to build the layout in. This is definitely what we wanted to do. And he's like, okay. He says, well, come up with the plans. All right, fine. So I came up with the plans and I came up with a backstory. And what was funny is that when I came up with the whole thing, I came up with, like I said, the history for the railroad, what it was, where it was supposed to be based, what it was going to do, following pretty much some very old school model railroading techniques. And I'm going to get more into that. That's actually number 3 on the list, but I'm going to get into that later. But following why we do model railroading and not railroad modeling. But at any rate, so I went ahead and I posted that video for the new year and gave a history and a background to the railroad. And Opa Dodge, who happens to be in here, had mentioned how well it came across and everything else. And I was like, well, thank you very much. And it's like a lot of it I was trying to do from memory, 30 some years ago. And I decided I was going to go looking for the original plans for the original Beauville and Newtown, the first iteration, which would have been at my parents' house, which never got built. In fact, after they moved and then I came home from the service, in 93, we lost my mom's mom. In 94, we lost my dad's dad. In 96, we lost my dad's mom. And then in 97, I lost my dad. So, we went ahead in a stretch of 5 years and lost 4 people that were very pertinent to the family. And that hurt. And a lot of things got pushed off. And, we ended up taking, 2 or 3 houses worth of stuff and putting it into one house. And, there wasn't any room to do anything. There was, in fact, the basement over at my mom's house after everybody passed, that you couldn't even walk in that basement. I mean, it was unbelievable the amount of stuff that was down there. So, any rate, like I said, I told Opa Dodge that I had a box of stuff that I had from when I was in the service, and I hadn't touched it in years. And I mean, I think the last time I actually went through and touched this box is after I moved into my old house back in 2010. And what was in here, and this is where I was thinking everything was. Well, not so much. And now I can't get the damn thing open. There we go. At any rate, there was a note in here to listen to the tape first. Now, a little bit of a backstory. The reason why there was a cassette tape in here is that when I was in the service, I got sent over to the Persian Gulf in 1991. In the fall or December of 91 is when we left. And hey, John Benacki, welcome in. Any rate, while I was overseas, there was very little time to write anything. You're busy standing watches and things of that nature. And it was hard to send letters. So what I did is I had a tape recorder, for those that remember cassette tape recorders, and I went ahead and recorded messages for home. And every so often when the mail came to us, when I got my mail from home, it was cassette tapes of everybody back at the house, my parents, my brothers, my grandparents, so on and so forth. So that was kind of cool. So that's how we communicated, because this is well before cell phones and so on and so forth. I only got seasick once, Artie, and that was when we left Mayport, Florida to go back to Charleston when we didn't have anything on board because they had stripped everything so we could go into the yards. And when we came back, we ran into the back end of a frickin' tropical storm, and that boat was like a frickin' cork. So anyway, what was in this box was a list of materials of what we were going to need to build this thing. There was, let's see, what was this? Oh, this here was the approximate cost of everything that we were going to need. I think the funniest part of it was how this thing was addressed. It says, to Roland L. Boble, Jr., President, from Raymond L. Boble, Design Department Head, via Betty J. Boble, Secretary and Treasurer. So that was my dad and me and my mom. Like I said, we had a ball with this. And believe it or not, I still have those tapes somewhere I think they're actually up in the den. I have the tapes that we used to send back and forth. I've got both sets now. So I've got the stuff that I had sent home, and I've also got the stuff that was sent to me. And years ago, I actually played them for my daughter because she had never heard her great-grandparents or her grandparent or her grandfather speak. So that was kind of cool. We have at least got that memory. So that was nice. Any rate, so also in here was the original plans for the railroad and some electrical stuff. I'm trying to see. I know when I was looking where I know what should be in here. There was actually three different phases to this railroad. It wasn't going to get built in one swoop. And there's an overall plan of it. Again, 2 yards. I don't know how well this thing is going to show up on camera, but you had 2 yards. One of them was hidden. One of them was actually out in the layout. This whole area here was just one big loop with a crossover in the middle of it. Literally, what I had thought of with this area was you would actually be looking over the mountain and into the valley where the trains crossed. I think that would have been really cool. Obviously, we never got there. This was just some more parts lists. Yeah, this is just more parts list. I had even gone as far as in here drawing out the control panels as well. Yeah, this here was one of the control panels. So yeah, there's a lot of memories left in this box. Lots and lots of memories. Let's see. Ray found the keys to the sea chest off watch. Getting back on track. That's pretty cool. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I I can't believe that I actually found all this stuff because of the fact that, here it is. Like I said, when I came home, we moved the stuff out of my mom's house over to my townhouse, from my townhouse to my mother-in-law's house, from my mother-in-law's to the house that I was in before this, and then now this one. So yeah, this stuff has got some mileage on it. That's for sure. That's for sure. My first layout was on the Mayflower. Anyway, so like I said, I went through that box and I didn't find the history, and I'm like, well, poop, where the heck did it go? And then I found it. It was actually stuffed in this here, which was yet another predecessor piece to the B&N. This here, again, has just got a lot of paperwork in it of the original layouts that we had, the 2 4x8s and the 2x5. Those pieces are in here. Those, how the control panels were wired, and everything else. There's other paperwork in here. Yeah, in fact, oh my gosh, I'll be darned. I wasn't sure if we'd actually ever done this. And I'm this was the measurements of the basement that the layout was supposed to go into. It was going to be 12 foot down one side and 15 feet down the other side. No, Bob, this is just, like I said, this is not only paperwork from the layout that never got built, but there's also paperwork in here from the original layouts that we had. Here's a prime example. This here is the road system that we had. You have to remember my old two 4x8s and a 2x5. Hey, Russ, actually was a portable layout. It went up in the end of October, early November, and came down in March. So this year, my dad had taken dress or t-shirt cardboard. The cardboard that they used to put in between the t-shirts before they just decided to stuff them in a plastic bag. And we had cut that up, and this is all the pieces because they were all numbered. And this is how we did things back then. So this was the main part of the layout. And this here was Roland Park and Newton's Farm. This is all the pieces for that. Because there was a rail station over on this side. This here was actually Roland Park. And then the farm was over here. And then there was a crossing gate that was down here. That's the reason why this is split. So there was actually the rail line went between there and up there. That was before I made modifications to that railroad and actually moved things around and actually added some extra switches. This is the old 2x5 yard in the part that would have been Newton's Farm area. That's the old layout. Oh, here you go. There's a throwback for you all. If anybody remembers these people, I'm not even sure if they're still in business or not. Terminal Hobby Shop. Let's see, what else is in this mess? Just bunches of cut up graph paper. Of course, I had taken Xerox copies of the planning book. I was trying to come up with ideas for the railroad using that planning book. That wasn't Atlas. That was Lynn Westcott. There's another name that'll come up from time to time, I'm sure. This here was the main layout. Very rough drawings by my dad. Hey, Tammy and Ray, welcome in. Like I said, I was just taking all sorts of different ideas from that planning book and coming up with all sorts of different ideas. January to December 1991. There you go. Let's see. Is there anything else pertinent in here floating around? Probably not. I think the rest of this is pretty much just, like I said, there's a lot of history in here. Here's one for the electronics. One of the things out there for the electronics gurus might recognize something like this. I believe these were AND gates. And what it was is this was going to be part of the block detection system. So the LED would be out here, and then as you flip the toggle switches, you could go down the line. There's another, yeah, there we go. Oh my gosh, yeah, this stuff is a real throwback. Real throwback. That was going to be the hidden yard, I believe. Yeah, this was Baltimore, the hidden yard at Baltimore, which obviously we don't model Baltimore. There's your wiring solution, right? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of other stuff in here. I had actually even gone as far as, and I doubt that this is going to show up well at all, I actually designed a station that was supposed to be down in Beauville, which we're not obviously using. I never built it because now I've got Union Station sitting down there. The B&M must have been faked. There's no coffee stains. Yeah. You know what, Steve? I think I can probably find you some soda stains in here. Wait a minute. The only binder I have like that is from my competitive triathlon years. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so that is just a little bit of that. I've kind of gone through that, but the history side of things, which is probably more what we really wanted to touch on here. So the Beauville Newtown Railroad history. Now, the thing of it is this was written so damn long ago, and this is my handwriting, and I can't read my own handwriting, so this ought to be good, right? It absolutely, Artie, absolutely. Absolutely. Charcoal rubbings. Send my box tops in for it. Jeez. I love finding stuff like this to show my grandkids. Absolutely. It's family. For me, it's not only railroad history, it's family history. There is a lot of stuff that we did as a family on this railroad. I mean, my grandmother, when we get closer to Christmas time, one of the things that would happen is my grandmother would stay over to watch us three kids, me and my two brothers. And what would happen is my dad would take, because my grandfather liked to drink beer, he had beer cases. So what he would do is he would take the cardboard boxes, put all the buildings into the cardboard boxes, and bring them downstairs. And the four of us, me and my two brothers and my grandmother, would sit there at the dining room table while my parents were out shopping, and we would clean all of the buildings. And then another night, we would clean all the locomotives and the rolling stock, taking a damp cloth to them, wiping all the dust off from the year before. And that's what we did. So there's a lot of family history tied into this whole thing too. And it's the reason why the railroad's named the way it is. And it's because of the fact that, like I said, it's just a lot of family history. And that's a shame, Rodney. Rachel had has some interest in it. She's actually helped me out a little bit down here from time to time. But, as they get older, and now she's got a boyfriend, of course, I think he wants to get down here and mess with the railroad too. So, hey, anyway, I'm going to try to get through this. So the history of the railroad, the layout depicts two railroads merged into one. The original roads were the Beauville, which served a few industries, and an interchange yard with a C&O, B&O, and Pennsy. The new town served a coal mine, a log mill, and a cattle pen from Newton's farm. Now, this is going back to what we had, or what we were thinking about doing years ago, not what's behind me. Now, years later, the Beauville and Newtown bored through the mountain range, and that was where that whole mountain range thing came from. Bridged the river that separated them. The Beauville and Newtown gets its revenue from an engine repair shop for the Pennsy, B&O, and C&O, also from various industries in Beauville. And in Newtown, the industries include a coal mine, cattle pen, and logging facility, none of which exists yet back there. And in Beauville, the industries included a warehouse, oil refinery, a car dealership, and the diesel, steam, and electric locomotive shops. Now, one of the things that I forgot to mention in my video that I put up for this year was the fact that the Beauville and Newtown, or at least the Beauville, that was supposed to be a lot bigger, and it was supposed to have a repair facility, which it does not currently have. I'm working on that. And of course, here we go. Recently, the Pennsy started passenger service to Beauville through the beautiful countryside of Newtown. Also, the Beauville has a running replica of the Orient Express built for runs between Harrisburg and Beauville. Newtown has the ownership of a 1776 passenger train that does fan trips between Beauville and Newtown once a year. So, yeah, the actual history, what was supposed to be on the old railroad and what I ended up with, amazingly close. Amazingly close. I'm going to put that off to the side. Rip out the bar and you'll have room for the set. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, the funniest thing of it is at one point in time, the bar was going to get moved from over there to where I'm actually sitting now, and we decided, no, we're going to leave it where it is. But I do have 2 or actually 3 different expansion plans in mind, but we're a long way from that. I want to finish this thing first, or at least get it 98% completed, and I ain't even 15% done yet. So I have Grandpa's time cards, waybills. Wow. Nice. Now, one of the other things I do, you bring that up, Bernard. One of the things I have from my wife is her uncle worked for the CSX, shuttling crews back and forth between, I think it was Cumberland and Frederick. So I don't know if Randall Ellison's in here or not, but that's kind of what Randall does. He runs that transportation system. So, or transport for the crew changes. I can't take those off. I won't be able to freaking see. Yes, it is, Bob. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But he actually gave me a system map of the CSX from downtown Baltimore. I think it goes all the way out to I think it goes out to Cleveland, Ohio, I think. I haven't looked at that stuff in ages because I was originally thinking about going over to modeling a prototype. But to do that, I would have needed, believe it or not, I would have needed a lot more room, or I would have had to go down the N scale. And I wasn't about to dump all the HO stuff just to go down the N scale. I had way too much money and time tied up in HO that I couldn't do that. I wasn't going to just send it off. So, will the layout have a siding to the bar? Not exactly to the bar, but near the bar. That just gave me an idea, though, Ed. That's dangerous. But Bob, replace the bar with a kitchen. Then everybody at the party will be there. Yeah, okay. Have to build a lift gate. Yeah, I would. But I've got another idea for over there. But Ed just gave me a different idea. I could go ahead and call that extension the sandbar, especially since it's supposed to depict a wharf scene. You know, some sort of a shipyard type of deal. You know, I could call that the sandbar. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, that was a bad dad joke. And I'm sure that I have probably missed a whole bunch of stuff in chat. Don't worry, he had women chasing him. I don't even want to know. Sure is, Ray. He bought me my first American Flyer, and we had there you go. Absolutely. You know, and we talked about this on my Sidetrack Sunday back in November, I think it was, where, you know, influences and who got you into the hobby. And to be honest, you know, my grandfather got my dad into it. And then my grandparents, and actually even my great-grandparents, my mom's grandfather actually had, I think it was a knockoff of American Flyer. It wasn't actual Flyer. It wasn't Marks. I don't remember what it was. That went by the wayside a long time ago. But they all had N scale. Both sets of my great-grandparents, or both my grandparents, let me back up. My great-grandparents, both sets of grandparents had N scale, which I still have. That my youngest brother is supposed to be taking over at some point once he gets things moving with his house. But you know that there is quite a bit. It's not a lot. I've acquired more because of some things that were handed over to me or handed off to me. So, you know, I've got a lot. There's quite a bit of N scale back there, but I've definitely got way more HO, way more. You know, as I was saying earlier in the stream, I'm now up to somewhere close to 100 locomotives, and I know I'm up to probably 350 to 450 or 350 to 400 pieces of rolling stock. I actually haven't counted it lately, and I need to, because I've bought and picked up some more stuff. So the judge told me to get into a hobby. The whole breaking and everything wasn't working out. Only you, Steve. I always got lost in the toy section. Yeah. You know, I mean, like I said, I mean, in that stream, exactly, Ed, just like I said in that stream, I still have my dad's stuff, my dad's old die-cast Tyco stuff from the 50s. And I don't run it only because of the fact that parts are harder and harder to come by. I mean, shoot, that stuff's 70-some plus years old now. You know, anybody here that follows Ron over at Classic Model Trains knows, or even Harrison over at SMT Mainline knows how hard it is to get parts for some of that older stuff. It's just not available anymore. And if it breaks, it's done. The biggest thing is either don't run it, or if you are going to run it, make sure you take real good care of it. But Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there is an awful lot of history to this thing, and it's what's kept me in the hobby, along with all of you, being a part of the community. You all have helped me out with this brand of nuttiness that I bring to the table. So I'm trying to see if I can't move things around. Here we go. Now we're a little bit more comfortable. Getting him back on track with Steve. My dad got me into the hobby, taking over his O gauge. When he passed, I do larger local. Hey, there you go. It's all in what we were brought up with. I mean, I could have. I look back at it now, and I keep wanting to take the glasses off because of the glare, but then I can't see. I look at this 34-foot by 8-foot monster behind me, and think, man, if I was an N scale, how much bigger this thing would actually be, or how much different it would look. And I go, yeah, no. I have a hard enough time repairing the HO gauge stuff. I don't even want to begin to think about digging in the N scale. But that does remind me of one thing, though, not to go ahead and plug it, but I do know that Ron came into a large collection of N gauge stuff that he obviously is not going to hang on to. You have to go back to his channel. I don't know if any of the moderators can get a hold of his, just a forehead glare. Thanks a lot. I'm not quite bald yet. Sheesh. Any rate, that's not going to work. Sorry. There we go. All right. And we'll just have to deal with the glare off the forehead. Any rate, where was I going? If somebody can post up Ron from Classic Model Trains, if anybody in N scale is interested, like I said, he has a ton of stuff that he just picked up. And I think most of it's like, I want to say Union Pacific and Burlington Northern. So if anybody is modeling either one of those two railroads, he's got a bunch of stuff. Any rate, Artie, it's a good thing I like you. And Rusty is like, that's the reason why I wear a hat in my videos. I think a lot of us do. There you go. Thank you, John number 2. I appreciate that, sir. Like I said, I mean, not that I'm sitting here going to plug, but I do know that he's got a lot of stuff that he wants to offload. So, yeah. Well, you know what they call a line of rabbits taking one step back and then taking another step back and then taking another step back? It's a receding hairline. My dad was only into repairing washers and dryers. Well, the funny thing of it is at one point in time, I could tell you, before we ditched them all, we probably had about 6 or 8 washing machine or dryer motors, because back in the day, the washers, the drums or the dryers, the drums would go bad, but the heating elements would go bad, and my grandfather, my dad would pull the motors out of them, put the motors off to the side, use them for something else. We had grinders and sump pumps and everything else made out of motors out of washing machines and dryers. Somewhere, I think I still have one of those sump pumps. I think there was also a grinder too. One of the ones that has a grinder on one side and wire wheel on the other was done off of that same thing. Yep. Pull the motors out. Motors are still good. The world are you going to do with the damn motor? God. Anyway, soapbox derby. Anyway, it is 8:51. I guess they weren't playing Maytag Repairmen. Nope. Nope. Like I said, if the guts were still good, or not the guts, but the motors were still good, but the washing machines fall apart around them. And they just don't make things like they used to. Nowadays, you just pitch the whole freaking thing and just start over. You don't call anybody to fix stuff. It burns me up. Copper is worth a lot more money now. Yep. South down switching. Welcome in. Washing machine motors are a bit too big for that. Just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. Just a tad bit. So, one of the last things that I wanted to touch on, we had a fence made out of washer and dryer. Oh boy. The last thing that I wanted to touch on tonight, if you saw my last video, was one of the things that I'm thinking about doing going forward on my Sidetrack Sundays. And again, this may not happen on every one of them. It may not happen, maybe once every other month or something like that. But I want to take a dive into history. And what do I mean by that? Well, as I stated earlier, there was a couple of guys way back when that made us model railroaders instead of railroad modelers. And that would have been John Allen and the name just went ahead and popped off they just went ahead and eluded me again. Anyway, I'm talking about the old Gory and Defeated and the Delta lines. Those were the first two railroads out there. John Armstrong, thank you. That's the reason why I want to do this there, Bob. You're the one that kind of planted the seed, so this is what we're going to run with. Anyway, what I'm thinking about doing on my next Sidetrack Sunday, it would be actually touching on John Armstrong and John Allen's railroads. Those would be the first two. There may be one more that gets tossed into that, but those would be the first two. And then going from there, going into some other more recent trendsetters. Talking about Bruce Chubb and the Oregon, Sunset Valley and Oregon system. Talking about Laurel Joyner's Great Southern. Talking about the Canandaigua Southern, and I cannot remember that man's name off the top of my head either at the moment. Anyway, like I said, just touching on a lot of these railroads that were the epitome of what we do now, or what we're trying to accomplish now. I will post the schedule in the description, Ed. I do put it up on the STS Facebook page, but finishing out this month, next week is Dave from DB Tech, and then the fourth Sunday this month is Bob over at PK&W. And then next month, we're still nailing down that schedule. We've actually got a meeting Tuesday night with the STS crew to nail down February and probably March, because as we know, we're getting into that time of year where John number 2 is probably going to be just a little busy. It's tax time, and we know he likes to count. But yeah, my thing is I know that that model railroader and Alan Keller did this back in the 80s. Those were the videos that started or helped set the foundation for this thing. And some of the techniques were modified or made my own from some of the things that they did back then. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about going ahead and doing in future shows is actually touching on the past of what model railroading, where we got our start. You know, where how we got to where we are. So that is, yeah, that is going to be that. I think it's going to be interesting for a lot of folks that may not have known about John Allen and John Armstrong and Lynn Westcott. Let's see who else. Laurel Joyner, Bruce Chubb. I know that there's a couple of people that I'm missing. Malcolm Furlow is another one. Dave Frary would be another one. Gosh darn it. The Ohio Southern. Somebody refresh my memory, please. I loved what the heck that man did with the Ohio Southern, but I cannot remember the guy's name off the top of my head. And that's a shame because I know he just passed away last year. But yeah, I mean, that's what I want to do. I want Jim Hediger. Thank you, Bob. See that? You know. Jim Hediger had a lot of things that I've tried to bring over into this thing too. So yeah, I mean, like I said, there's just things that happened in the past, things that lay the foundation, lay the groundwork for some of the things that some of us are still doing. But you know, it's. I think it'd be neat to go back into model railroading history, go backwards a little bit, and take a look at how we got started. Yes. Jim was one of the ones that pioneered the helical double-deck layout, among other things. Prototypical operation is one of the things that he really pushed for, too. Hey, Ron, over at the Southwest Railroad, welcome in, sir. You missed it earlier, but I'll show you anyway. Dawn got me a caboose to go with the locomotive you sent me for Christmas. And now I don't have to go looking for one in February. Which reminds me, because I know that Joe over the Black Rock Central went ahead and brought it up earlier. And that is the fact that coming up in February, I believe it's February 4th and 5th. Let me double check that. Nope, that wouldn't be right. I think it's the 8th and the 9th or the 15th and 16th. Anybody know when the Super Bowl is this year? Because I guarantee you that's when the train show is. Train show is either Valentine's Day weekend or Super Bowl weekend. Guaranteed. Oh. And unfortunately, I don't have it up at the moment to know. Let me see if I can I can pull this up real quick. GSMTS. The Great Scale Model Train Show. Let's see. What does it say? Survey says, February 1st and 2nd. Oh, it's not wow. Okay. February 1st and 2nd of 2025. All right. So anyway, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there. I want to go there. There we go. Hey, I'm back. First and second. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Oh, look at it. Dave was on top of it too. My goodness, you all. Anyway, yeah. So February 1st and 2nd is the Great Scale Model Train Show in Timonium. That is right up the street from me. So your birthday's the 5th. and yeah, mine was yesterday. And yeah, I know I'm still younger than you. I can remember how old I am by the Super Bowl number. I see. Well, I just hit the speed limit yesterday, so at least the speed limit most parts, and that would be 55. You know, Artie, I said it before. It's a good thing I like you, bud. It's all right, brother. I appreciate it. Oh, man. So anyway, what I was getting at is, the train show is the February 1st and 2nd. Obviously, I am not that far from Timonium. If you're coming into the area, you're more than happy to stop over here. And the funniest thing of it is Mr. Joe Rader over the Block Rock Central is about 5 minutes away from me. So, we're right around the corner from each other and right around the corner from the show. So, like I said, more than likely, if you're going to be in the area, you can come over here, take a look at the Beauville Newtown, and we can swing over and take a look at the Block Rock Central. So, that's all in a day's work, right? My birthday is in May, so you were older than me too. I see. Joe's going to hit the 3/4 of the century mark. Nice. Another wrong with being slow to fast was at the brick wall first. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see. My next visit to my mom's, I'll have to spend a day up north with you all. Absolutely, JJ. You can get a hold of me via the Beauville Newtown Facebook page or through email. My email is actually in a lot of the descriptions on a lot of the videos. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is to go ahead and just send me an email or hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Either way, and we can catch up that way. And Rodney gets lost. Rodney, you ain't the only one, bud. There's been other people that have gotten lost. It's just the fact that I just find it funny that your GPS wants to take you someplace else. I don't understand that one. And Ed is saying he's planning on being in Amherst. Well, my thought is I was originally going to do that. However, things have kind of shifted for me a little bit work-wise. So I'm not going to make it this year. I've also got a doctor's appointment, general doctor's appointment that week. So I wouldn't be able to make it up there, unfortunately. So, not this year, maybe next year. Trust me, Amherst is on the bucket list. I definitely want to make it a point to get up to Amherst at some point. So, Plumber took me 50 miles the wrong way. Doctor overtrains. Well, okay, let me back up a second. I mentioned before that the mid 90s were not good for my family. My dad passed away in 1997, and he was 54. So yesterday I hit 55, and I have, to a point, tried to make sure that I see a doctor about, general health. My dad passed away from cancer. He had stomach cancer. And back in those days, they didn't know anything about it. They tried a whole bunch of stuff and it didn't help. So like I said, as far as general health goes, I try to make sure that I see, I see a doctor I see a doctor basically every 3 months. So, and I've got high cholesterol and, all that wonderful crap. So, I go there, they run checks and make sure that I'm still alive. So, I look at it this way. I've already made it 1 year, basically I have made it 6 months longer than he had. So I'm counting my blessings. But the only way you do that is by making sure that you're taking care of yourself. And I try. There's some things I need to do better. Absolutely. But yeah. So that's the reason why. So yeah. that's the reason why, you know, the doctor became more important than going up to Amherst. So maybe next year. I'll try to make sure that I don't schedule a doctor's appointment the last weekend in January, or the last week of January. There you go. There you go. Oh, absolutely. You do? I should have looked that up for a little longer. We need you to keep STS going strong. I try. Yeah, I go. Believe it or not, Steve, I actually go. I actually go every 3 months. So, yeah. Looking forward to going to the meet and greet in May. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make that one either. Is Sparky still here, or can somebody tell me where Sparky's planning on doing that this year? Where is this one? To be honest, I've been a little out of touch. I guess I've been focusing on too much of my own stuff and not focusing on the stuff out, but. New York and Erie Railroad, May 16th and 18th, somewhere in New York State. Well, that narrows it down. At least it isn't in Texas. That's a big state. We would have a heck of a time figuring that one out. Okay, so there is a meet and greet May 16th and 18th in the New York and Lake Erie Railroad. All right. Let's see. Where is the New York and Lake Erie? New York. It would help if I could type around the microphone. New York and Lake Erie Railroad. Gowanda, New York. Okay. Let's see. There is a website for this place. Look at that. Oh, man. On the front page, they got a pair of FAs. Nice. All right. I'm coming back over, folks. Here we go. There we go. That is where, presumably near Lake Erie. I just posted the link. I just posted it. And then Timonium's the first weekend in May. Interesting. Oh, okay, so this is the winter show, then you have the spring show, and then we have the fall show in October. Got it. He is planning a ride 2.5 hours. Wow. Okay. Bernard. Oh boy. Erie built FAs. Nice. That's a neat picture. I like that. Okay, let me hide that. All right, so yeah, like I said, I mean, really in reality, if you're ever in the area, you know, or if you know you're going to be in the area, you can reach out to me, like I said, via email, Facebook. You know, yeah, I agree. I agree with you, Brian. I really do. Gowanda is near Buffalo and Niagara, so something for the significant others. Oh boy. We'll need a ride from the Buffalo airport. Whoops. There we go. All righty. And Artie is saying that Victoria's Railway copied the color scheme. Okay. Near Niagara Falls. I've been there before, so that's nothing new. Wrong side of New York. I'm on the east side near Vermont. Sparky taxi service. FYI, if you're in Illinois, you'll have to hit the Illinois Railway Museum. Okay. That sounds like a good one. That sounds like a good one. All right, folks. Well, it's now 9:13. Just don't plan on using Ray as a getaway driver while the Artie. Oh my gosh. Barrel rides over the falls has been canceled. IRM is the biggest. Okay. Cool. We'll have to check that out there, Brian. Thank you for posting. Thank you, Bob. I thank you. So anyway, yeah, it's 9:13. I've got to go ahead and get some things taken care of before I call it a night. Got the normal chores to do around the house and get things taken care of here. So who needs a barrel, Dave? Oh gosh. I know, Artie, you're going to give me crap about that for a long time, brother, but that's okay. It's all right. So anyway, don't forget, next week, Dave over at DB Tech has got Sidetrack Sunday, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern. We will catch up with you over there, and you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We'll catch you all next time. We'll see ya.